Hello. Today we're going to do a review of the iRocker battery and the iRocker pump to pump up your inflatables. So here's what I got going. I've got an Advanced Elements Airvolution kayak, and then we have the battery here. It's the 400 milliamp. I'm sorry, 4,000 from iRocker. About 80 bucks. I paid 100, but they're down to 80 now. And then their pump, I forget how much this is. But in my other videos, I've been using these and people have been asking me quite a few questions about them. How efficient are they? How many times can you pump up and deflate your kayak? All that kind of stuff in the manual pump. So today, we're going to pump it up and see how long it takes, if the battery drains too quickly, and then also how quickly you can do it by hand. Because my wife and I, what we do is we plug in the pump on one of the chambers, and then we start pumping up the other chamber by hand. Usually we can beat the pump, but it still saves you quite a bit of time. So I'll set up the camera here and let's get going. Okay, so the first test, we're going to do the electric pump. I'll do that first and then I'll do the manual one. You guys can watch me exercise. So we're plugging this in. We're going to do our test by inflating the base chamber, the bottom chamber. Okay. Bring the camera over here so you can see exactly what's going on. So we're hooking up the base chamber for the test. The battery is fully charged. I just charged it, and you can tell because it lights those lights up when you push the button. I'm pumping it up to 12 psi, which is what's recommended for the Airvolution. And then I got my timer. So we're going to hit this right now and start the time. And we'll watch this go. There we go, 4:41. 4 minutes, 41 seconds to pump it up with a fresh battery. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. Now I'm going to deflate this thing and start all over again with the manual pump. You'll get to see my ass out here pumping. Okay, so we're going to unhook it, and all that energy going to go to waste. This is going to be loud. Okay, so I will deflate it all the way, which means I will put this on deflate mode. It's interesting, this hose right here gets a little warm. And that's just because it's compressing air, and that causes a lot of friction and you get warmth. Okay, hook it up here. And now we'll deflate.
And how you know when it's deflated is you'll start to hear the pumps will be strained a little bit, it'll be straining. And then I always just look at the base here, I can tell there's still air in it, but this will start to just suction in and vacuum down. And it's important to do that all the way because that's the only way you make these small enough to roll back up and put them back in the bag. Otherwise you'll never get them that way.
Alright, see that? Suctioning in, and I just heard the pump start to struggle, so we'll call that good. pump off, put it aside. Okay, now we're going to do the manual test. Now, I'm going to be using the pump that came with it, the Advanced Elements manual pump. This thing, note, has a great feature, and that is a dual action and a single action. And what that means is when you first start, you want it on dual, and that's because it's going to be pumping air with your upstroke and your downstroke. So it's super efficient, no wasted motion. But what happens is eventually when you get some pressure built up, the upstroke will be very difficult. It'll be super hard. And that's the case when that happens, and you flip it to single and then you do it the rest of the way. This thing also has a pump or a gauge on it, so that's super helpful. All right, so let me set up the camera and the timer, and I will go to work, and you guys get to hear some heavy breathing. Okay, we're on inflate, we're on dual action. All right, timer out. Remember, we're shooting for 441. Now, and I'm not going to give it like massive effort. I'm going to give it like regular effort like you would do in the morning getting ready to go kayaking, okay? So here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, start. Remember, it's pumping on the up and down in this initial phase. So in the beginning, you think, there's no way I can beat that pump. The pump is pretty fast, right? But you'd be surprised. Okay, the upstroke's starting to get a little... Okay, I'm switching to the single. It's up to about almost 4 psi. So 4 psi, how long did that take me? About a minute and a half. But now the work starts because it's getting harder. And there's 12. How long did that take? 310. So 310. So see, you can beat the pump, but I'm out of breath. And if you have multiple kayaks, and for example, if I was doing this in the wild, I'd be pumping that by hand while the other chamber was using the electric pump. So it still speeds up and helps you out quite a bit. Okay? I think that's all I needed to cover. The only other thing would be, how many times can you pump up a kayak on one charge? I know I have done 4 chambers at one time. Both chambers on this one, and both chambers on my wife's bigger kayak. And have done that with one charge, no problem. That's usually all you need, right? Because then when you're done, you can plug it back in overnight and charge it back up again. But even then, it still had some stuff left. If you're interested in results for that, just comment. If I get enough interest, after I catch my breath, I'll do a test on how many times we can pump up a chamber, a kayak on one charge of the iRocker battery. Okay? Subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. Whew.